All right, let's start on the next topic for this slide, for this course. All right, so what we are going to talk today, right now, is while statement. When you have to work with a big number, an example like I'm telling you to do summation from 1 to 100. 1 to 100. Can you do everything by manual? Like 1 plus 2, 2 plus 3, 3 plus something like that? You can do it. It's not it's feasible, practical. So 100, okay, you can do it, but thousands, can you do it? No. For that, we need a long, like, we have to write a long code. So how can we do everything efficiently in a second or in a simple code? That's why we have some loop. It is called loop. Is a loop. It is sometimes we use for loop. Sometimes we use the while loop or the while loop. Here we are learning while loop. How the loop works. First things we have to initialize. That is called initialization. Means we are telling from where we are going to start our journey. Here you see counter equal 5 means I'm going to start from 5. I'm telling here, see, while these are conditions. First initialization, then conditions, then increment or decrement. Here is it. Initialization done, then conditions. Counter is greater than 0. If the counter is greater than 0, only it will come inside this while loop. Otherwise, it will not go inside. So here you see counter, yes. This is 5 means it's greater than 0. Okay, it will come inside. And here you see counter equal, counter minus 1. Every time I'm reducing 1, 1, 1. It is 5. Now it's going to be 4. Then again, it will come and check, hey, this is greater than 0? Yes, 4 is 0. It will continue until it get 0. When it will get 0, it will not come anymore inside this loop. Then this is done. Means here you see there are three conditions, three things, not conditions. One is initializations, then you set conditions, then you put the increment or decrement. Here you're doing decrement, means every time you're reducing the numbers. Because if you don't reduce it, if you don't write this code line, what do you think? 5, it will come again 5, yes, 0. Greater than 5 counter is greater than 0. It will continuously, it will continue. You cannot stop it. You cannot stop the program. So you have to stop in certain points. How can you stop it? Only decrementing the variables. Okay, next. Next, we are learning that is called for loop. What is the for loop? This is another type of loop. This is more convenient than the while loop. Mostly we use the for loop. Here you see. I have a variable course equals CS3, CSC327, whatever you just put it here. Okay. For character in course. Here you see for. Here I initialized it. Now I'm taking the value for course. From the course, I'm taking every single character. C, S, C, space 327. All considered as a character. All the time when this is a variables declared character, all the time taking a single character from the course. And when I print that, it will print like that. It will print like that. Every time it will print means it will go through the whole string from beginning to the end until it's printing the last digit. Okay, so that's how it's for loop work. Here is another example. For example, you have a number of lists. Grades. Grades are like 88, 92, 75, 89, 95. You have the grades. Okay. Now you are trying to get the average of the whole grade. Example, you have 50 students in your class. Everyone got different grades. So you are trying to make the average of the whole all students, how much average grade for the whole class. What you can do, you can do the sum of all students' grade and then divide it by the numbers, right? This is the way we do. Similar thing. Here you see, I have the grade here. Consider for the first time, I have to sum them. I consider that this is the 0. For the first time, it is 0. Now every time I am taking the grades list here. I'm grade for every single number here. First I'm taking for the grade is 88, then 92. First 88, total plus grade. 0 means 0 plus 88. Now I'm storing it total. Now total is 88. Next I'm taking next one 92. Now total is 88 plus 92. Now you add sum it and adding here. So every time until the last point, last number 95, it will add all the grades into the total variables. Finally, we are just taking the length. How many grades was there? 2, 4, 5. So I'm taking the length of the grade. Length means to define what is the length of this list. His length is 5. So I'm dividing total divided by 5. Now that's how you can get the average. Okay. Another thing is like, I'm telling you to print the output 1 to 100. How can you do that? Simple. You have to say start for loop I in range. Here you see by default there is a keyword. I use the range keyword. Inside the parentheses I said 5. By default it's going to start from 0 and it's going to end in 5. And every time default it will increase the value 1, 1, 1. It's a default thing. Here you see if you print it, all the time it will print 1, 2, 3, 4. So here it did not print the 5. So it will continue till it is 5, but it will not print 5. Before 5, it's gonna print, it will stop here. So it is printing total 5 numbers, 0 to 4. Now you want something else. You're gonna start from 2 and you want to keep a gap between them, or 2-digit, 3-digit, whatever, and you want to end in 11. Here you see, for these are variables event in range. Inside the parentheses, I said 2. This is starting point. It was default here 0, but here I'm defining that this is 2. And this is 11, means this is end point. Here I defined it. Here I defined is 5. Now I'm saying 11. And I'm saying 2 means jump by 2. Every time to jump by 2. Here I did not put anything, means by default it's going to be 1. But here I defined it, means it's going to jump 2. If you want, you can say 3, 4, whatever. So if you print it, you'll see the print output. You see 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Means every time it's jumping 2, 2, 2, 2. Okay. Here is another class activity for you. So again, pause the video here and read the instruction for the for this. Then finally work. And then open a new cell in Google Colab, create a new cell in Google Colab, create a Python list, the list of containing the score. Your task is to write a for loop, create a loop that iterates through the entire list, accomplish 2 goals. There are 2 goals. First, calculate the average, overall class average that you did already. I already showed before. Same thing. And score net. Second is if a statement inside your loop track exactly how many students score more than 90. You have to track how many students more than 90 got A. So that's the work, man. Just read the instruction carefully and just complete the class activity 1.2. Okay. Next, we're going to learn another thing that is called functions. What is a function? Function means when you work with big programs, function define the separate work. You have for example, you have a summation work, you have multiplication work, you have division work, many more. So you want to separate them separately. When you do summation, you just call the summation functions and you do the sum. When you divisions, you call the division function, you do the division. Functions mainly help you to split, to build the work nicely, to split the work separately. Can you see? Display, there is how to define the functions. For that, you have to use a keyword that is called def, D-E-F, and you can define the name here. Display, welcome, whatever. You can write any name here, your name or whatever you like. And parentheses here, parentheses. Sometimes parentheses with empty, sometimes it could something inside it. It depends. It's called parameters. Inside the parentheses, it's called parameters. Here inside you see print. I'm printing welcome to CSC 3 to 7, whatever, and printing the output. But if you leave it this way, it's not gonna print anything. Here you see. I'm gonna show you practical here. For example, if display, okay, here you see print welcome to the class. What did you print? Nothing, right? Nothing. So to print the things, you have to call these functions, only it's gonna print. Here you see I'm printing display. Now you see, welcome to the class. Means you split up the work, that is perfectly fine. Until you are calling these functions, it's not gonna work. Here you see I run it, but it doesn't print anything for me because I didn't call these functions from outside. Means there's no work on it right now. When I call it, means I call, hey, you have work now. Now it is work. Understand it? So it's clear. Yeah. So display welcome. It's gonna display the things. Sometimes I say that unit parameters. Here's a variable functions that grade students. Here I put the name, one parameters. When I will call these functions, grade students, I have to provide a name inside it because it's asking for a parameters. I provide a parameters. If you call these functions without the parameters, it's not gonna work. Here is the again example. Here I said, for example, X. If you, it's gonna work now. If you run it, it's gonna got errors because it's asking for something. Here you see, you say 7. Yes, it's work now. If you want to print the X here, X. Run it now. It's worked. Now if you print it, here you see, welcome to the class 7. I provided the 7 here. It came here 7, and I called when I said, hey, this is 7. It's print me 7. Did you understand it? Means if you need to call some things and you need parameters, so you have to provide the parameters inside on it. Here you see, inside on it. Another one, here you see, calculate area. It's asking for 2 parameters, length and width. Here I did everything, area, calculate area, and printing the output. So if I do not call this function, it's not gonna work. When I call it with 2 parameters, 5, 10, it's work. Here's 2 things. Parameters versus argument. What is parameters? The variables here inside the function, this is called parameters. The things that you are passing when you're calling this function, that is called argument. Means actual information. You are passing, here is a 5 and 10. There's actual information, weight, length, and width. So this is the argument, and these are the parameters. Random number generations. Sometimes when we work in the machine learning, deep learning, AI, we have to create some random numbers. So in Python, there's a nice library that is called random range. Let's see. For that, I have to call a functions, a package input random. Then what I did, random dot, there's a function random range. I said, hey, print something between 1 to 7. It will print you automatically any numbers for you. But in a machine learning or deep learning, when you're going to work, for example, you have 2 different models. For one model, if you create some random number like 7, for another model 100, that's not fair. For one model, it's 1 parameters. For another one, another parameters. So performance is going to be different. So still, you can create the random, but same for everyone. Same for all. Same number. That's why we need a call function the sit inside the 42. When you call the functions here randomize, all the time it's gonna show you 82, 82, 82. Because this is fair for all. There's no constant. If you don't use the sit and you call that, every time it's gonna be different. Another things. We do toss, right? Head or tails. How does it work? I give two options. Options, head or tails. Then I random choose options from there. When we have online coins, right? When you go Google online coins, flip it. It's gonna give you either tail, either head. How does it work? Here you go. These are the things. Simple, with 2-3 lines code. That's it. All right. Okay, math modules. What is the math modules here? Sometimes you have to work on square root, power, floor, ceiling functions. You don't have to do it like by manually. There's a nice function. For that, you have to import a package called input math. Root, here's a variables. Then I call this math package a square root. I want to do the square root of that. The square root inside, I just put the input 144. Does it work? Here's a power. I just say power 2 to the power 3. It's going to give you the output. Floor functions, you gave the input. It's going to give you 9. Ceiling functions means there are all the nice feature for mathematical equations you can get inside the math package. Just you have to import the package math, and you just call these functions, the square root, power, floor, ceiling, whatever you need. It's going to work. All right. Variable scope. What is that variable scope? You know where's the variable is, right? What is the variable scope now? Sometimes here you see I have a variable course name CSC3 to 7. This is a global variable. This is global means I can access this variable from anywhere, any part of my programs. But you have another variable student count equal 30. You see, this variable is only inside the shoe scope. If you try to print this one from outside, it's not gonna work. See the example? For example, here you see you have a variables y equal 10. This will work. Now try to print y. Here you see. Y, okay, y Murad, because here is the y variable is Murad. But here you see, I say something not y, this is g. Okay, g, I said here g. It's not gonna work. That is the local variable because this g is only for this function. If you print it inside that, print g here, now it's gonna work because this is inside that. You see now working. You see now print g is print you 10 and you call the functions work. So this is the difference between local and global. Means if the functions is inside the if the variables inside the function is only usable inside these functions, you cannot call it outside it. That's called local. And if you have variables outside the functions, this is a global, meaning you can access this from any place of the program. Okay. All right. So then there is another last class activity for you. Read it carefully. Read it carefully and solve that. So how many class activities you got? You got 3 class activities. Class 1.1, 1.2, 1.3. I'm gonna create one class activity sections in the Canvas. Just upload the files in the Canvas. You don't have to write anything. Okay, just upload the Python file, python.py file in the Canvas. You don't have to write any report. I need just program for that. I hope everyone understand it well. So if you have any questions, just write an email to me. I'm here to help you. Bye. See you next class.